to Baking and Books. My name is Lexi, and I'm an amateur baker who loves to read. So each week I post videos of myself attempting to bake something new while also talking about a book that I have recently read or just really love. This week I'm taking on a decorating challenge because by the time this goes out, it will be just a couple of days before my fiance and I get married, and we're so excited, so I thought that I would make us a wedding cake. And so what I thought I would challenge myself on is the decorating challenge, making it two-tiered instead of just a one-tier cake, which is what I've done in the past. I'm going to use fondant and try to decorate it super nice for us so that everything comes out looking really beautiful. We're also going to talk about The Vile Village by Lemony Snicket. This is the 7th book in the Series of Unfortunate Events series. So if you haven't been following along, I'll try to link the 6th book down below, and go ahead and watch all of those, or catch up reading, watch the TV series on Netflix, whatever you have to do. That way you're not confused, because even the synopsis is kind of confusing. Alright, well, fingers crossed, because decorating is my fault, so let's go ahead and get started. Okay, here we go. We're going to start with chocolate cake on the bottom, because I picked out chocolate and he picked out French vanilla, and I'm the baker, so mine gets to be the biggest. Also, I'm the bride, so, it's about me. Just kidding, kind of. Okay, so at the beginning of Vile Village, we find Sunny, Violet, and Klaus are, of course, yet again being dropped off somewhere totally ridiculous, as is custom. So, if you'll remember, they were with Esme Squalor and Jeremy, I don't remember, in their penthouse, but unfortunately, they encountered Count Olaf because Esme was an awful person. So things didn't really end up super great for them in the penthouse, and they ended up having to go to a different home. So now they're heading to a village, essentially. Pretty much Mr. Poe found them a village that believes in the literal phrase, it takes a village to raise a child. So the village as a whole basically adopted them. But of course with these books, you have adults who are pretty stupid. I mean, let's just be honest, they are. And it's not a great fit, and of course it's not as safe as Mr. Poe and everybody else believes that it will be, because everybody underestimates Count Olaf. So that's pretty much it. So if you don't want things spoiled for you and you're not caught up, then go ahead and skip forward until it says no more spoilers, and you can see how things are going. It probably won't take me super long to get through this book, so you'll probably get to still enjoy the decorating process. But if you've already read the book, or you just don't care, then go ahead and stay with me and we'll get further into the baking process and get these cakes taken care of. The first thing that I notice about this village that's different than every other place they've been is that they seem to have, actual food. I mean, not that they didn't have food with the Squalors, but, they had to eat salmon because that's what was in. Oh my gosh. I will remember every time one of these days. The day will come when I will always remember that I have to put this on. But it was not today. So, they had food, but it was just, constantly salmon. So at least here, they're getting, Mexican food, even though that's all he knows how to make. What is that guy's name? I don't know. But even though that's all he knows how to make, I don't know, it might be better than salmon all the time. I like salmon, but if I had to pick, I would definitely pick Mexican food over salmon. All day long, baby. All day long. It is kind of dumb that the townspeople are very much oh, well, we'll just get some orphans and they'll do all our chores for us. Okay. That seems like a really terrible way to do things. Why would you do that? But again, the adults in this book series are really not always the best. So I can understand that maybe that's just life, and we have to live with it because the adults in this book series are terrible people. I have to wonder if, these books inspire kids to grow up and try to be smart. Because, it shows a lot of dumb people with a lot of dumb beliefs and opinions. So I'm does that, if you start it at, 7 or 8 or whatever, does that encourage you to try to be smarter and, get better grades and stuff? Because I feel I got into this a little late, so I don't know if it really, I don't know how much effect it really had on me, but I wonder if, when you start it little, I feel like I would change my mind about how hard I worked in school, because clearly being dumb is not an option. Alright, our first cakes are ready for the oven. Okay, we'll go ahead and get the second cake ready while those are in the oven. That way it's just ready to go. I think it's interesting that we finally get to see the kids growing up. Like, Klaus has his birthday while they're there. And obviously it's a crappy birthday because he has to have it in jail. But so far, you know, this is the seventh book, I don't know anymore. The 7th book. And this is the first time, like, that we're seeing them grow up and that, like, having birthdays and stuff. And I think it's a reminder, as always, that these stories take place really very quickly after one another. Like, it's easy to believe, oh, it's been a long time since their parents died and we started, you know, this whole Count Olaf awful person thing. But in reality, it actually probably hasn't been that long. I'm not sure how long, but I would guess, you know, maybe each story is a month tops, so maybe 6 months, but maybe not even that long. I mean, some people, like Uncle Monty, pretty sure they were with him. Oh my gosh, I'm tripping over my words. Pretty sure they were with him less than a week, and honestly, Aunt Josephine, pretty sure they were with her less than a week. So I feel like most of these places, it's probably really only been like 6 or 7 weeks. So it's hard sometimes to be like, why haven't the kids been growing up? But I think that now, like, being able to see Klaus grow up is a big deal. Because I do think that it's important to see time changing, like, things moving forward. And, like, time moving along. So now he's, you know, he's not 12, he's 13, and things are progressing. Like, they're not just trapped in this endless age loop. Like in cartoons, when they, like, never age forward, and they're just the same age forever. That's what it kind of reminded me of. But now, at least, finally, with Klaus having his birthday and turning 13, we can kind of see, oh, they are going to move forward. Time is going to pass. It's just, you know, things are happening a lot quicker than we think they're happening. So time doesn't pass as quickly as we might think it is. Okay, so all of our cakes are living their best life. The chocolate is out of the oven, so it's cooling, and I'm going to let it cool properly before I do anything to it. And our French vanilla is in the oven. So now what I'm going to do is prepare our fondant. So that's part of how I'm decorating, is I'm going to use fondant and cover everything up and try to decorate on there. The problem is, like, I'm not really a decorator. I didn't really feel like getting, like, modeling chocolate or anything like that. So I thought, okay, what could I do that would be, like, fun and cool? So what I decided to do would be to color my fondant. I don't think that this is going to be enough for the bottom. So my thought process is, if one part of the cake has like a green fondant and then the other part is a yellow fondant, then we can kind of roll with like a Hogwarts theme. My soon-to-be husband is a Hufflepuff and I am a Slytherin. The perfect combination. So I thought, okay, that's a good place to start if I can cover the cakes with some fondant layers. So the problem with that is the last time that I did colored fondant, I 100% dyed my hands, whatever color it was. I need flour. So I bought gloves because I don't want to stain my hands. That color. You know what I mean? I mean, that just doesn't really seem like a thing you want to do, so. Okay. I don't know that this is going to be enough, but I don't want to, like, add to it until I know for sure. So I'm trying to roll it out to see. So my last note on the book is more just like, why didn't the kids all climb together? Like, was the ladder really flimsy? Because it just seems like an easy solution to, you know, the townspeople and Count Olaf and Esme are, like, coming to get them, would be to climb this machine that has been made all at the same time. Yet here they are, like, taking turns. So I'm like, is the rope just not sturdy enough for everybody? Or did you just not think this through? Because if they'd all climbed at once, they would have made it before Esme started, like, firing shots at them, you know? Okay, I think if I roll this up, it will be about enough. So now I'm going to put my gloves on and dye it. But that was just like my final thought, is I was just kind of like, you know, these kids are smart, but sometimes I just wonder if maybe they don't always think things through like they should. Alright, if you left because of spoilers, go ahead and come back and join us. We've got some cakes in the oven, some other cakes cooling, and now we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of the decorating. So I've got my fondant, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to dye it with some food coloring. So this is going to be the green layer, and the more I think about it, the more I think it's not enough. That's okay, we've got plenty of more fondant, so we're just going to add some to it. Because honestly, I don't use fondant very often. I can always get more, and I would rather have more than not enough when I go to like finally cover the cake. I've got gloves on. Let me talk about that again. So the last time that I've used fondant like 3 times before in my life. And the very first time that I ever used it, my friends and I were making a cake, and we wanted to make it like covered in white fondant, but have different spots, like different polka dots all over it. So we each took a chunk of it and colored it with food coloring, like what I'm doing right now. And I just remembered that our hands were so dyed the color of the food coloring. So what I wanted to do instead was I bought some gloves, and I am going to wear them while I do this so that hopefully my hands don't get stained with food coloring. Although the gloves don't really seem to be, so I don't know. This is quite the workout. Okay, this is probably going to take up the rest of this green food coloring that I have because I need it to be like a cool, dark and mysterious green, not this lime green like marble thing we have going on here. Definitely have to keep my surface floured, otherwise it really starts to stick. You know, this is probably why people buy colored fondant. But I didn't want to spend money when I knew I could just dye it, you know? And I have to be careful not to let my cakes in the oven burn. That would be bad. This is my workout. Yeah. Okay. I think we're about ready to roll it out. It's not exactly the green I was picturing, but I think it'll be fine. To be honest, I'm exhausted. And so this is just what we're going to go with. I still think it's a really cool color, though. It actually looks a little more snake-like. It's not necessarily Slytherin, but close enough. Okay, let's roll this up on here. Save it until we're ready for it. Okay, now we are ready to start assembling our bottom layer of cake. I waited for them to legitimately cool this time, so we should be okay. Everything's getting assembled on this plate, so hopefully it holds together. I put some of them in the fridge because I was like, I am not going to wait forever for these to cool down at air temperature. It's starting to get hot here, and even though our AC is on, it might take forever. Okay, here we go. Just some store-bought frosting, because, like I said, we're working on our decoration skills with this cake. We're not really too worried about, oh my gosh, it's amazing. Although I think it will be. I mean, honestly, these Betty Crocker cakes are just as good as anything else, so that's what I stand by. Although we may end up having to make some of our own icing, because I don't think one will be enough, which is fine. Okay. Oh, no. Dang, that one didn't stay together quite so well. Oh well. Tastes good though. Now I'm going to ice all over so that we can lay our fondant on. This is when I wish I had one of those like spinning cake top things. Ah, this cake is crumbling around on me. Anyway, I wish I had one of those spinning cake top things. Alright, moment of truth. Oh, I have plenty. Oh well. I will have plenty to fix any mistakes that happen, and maybe I can save some for like a cute little design or something. Otherwise, it's a fun color. It's kind of marbly because the color didn't quite like overtake it in the white, so it's kind of like colored, which is fun, like in a marble way, which is really fun. I think anyway. Alright. I think I'm going to stick this in the fridge. That way, if I decide to use it later, because I had trouble laying it because it just got really warm, like just sitting here, and it had trouble like moving around. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside for now because we'll have to make the fondant for the other layer. Okay, and there probably is not enough icing, but we're going to cross that bridge when we come to it. I have the stuff to make some more icing. It's a different kind of icing, but I think it'll work. Okay, this layer is going to be yellow. And now I know I don't need as much as I think I do. And these are going to be smaller. I'm going to like cut out smaller pieces with, like I'm stumbling over my words, but I'm basically going to use something like a bowl, or maybe I'll just freehand it with a knife or something to cut them into smaller rings so that they sit two-tiered on the actual cake instead of being the same size as the other part of the cake. My hands did not get stained, or my gloves didn't even really get stained with the last food coloring, but I'm not going to take any chances. This could end up looking more like Christmas than the golden that I was promised. Or orange. Yeah, that ought to be interesting. Okay, we're going to add some regular yellow, because this is way too orange. We're not trying to make Gryffindor, we're trying to make Hufflepuff here. Okay, well this is going to be a little more orange than anticipated, I think. But it is supposed to be a gold, so maybe that's okay. I'm going to add a little more yellow to see if I can do anything to it, and if not, we're just going to have to go with it. Alright, we're rolling with it. Okay, that should be good. So I'm going to put some flour on here this time, and then roll her up, set aside. Okay, now that our cake has had time to cool, I gotta figure out what is going to be the best way to cut out a smaller piece so that it stacks on top of the bigger piece. And here's what I'm thinking. A bowl. Okay. I mean, it works. Hold on. Okay, then we just like take out some edges here. Look at that. Look at all that cake. There's good cake. I feel like I should do something with it other than throw it away, but I don't know what, so glad you're doing it. Okay, there's number one. Now we icing it. Hope that number two comes out okay too. The nice thing about this is we're not having to flip anything, so it should be okay. And I'm a makeshift genius. Okay, there we go. Alright, it's a little crumbly, but I think we're going to be okay. I'm just going to use up what I have left on the... Ah! Okay. It's going to be okay. It's not going to be okay. Alright, we're going to run with it. We're going to make it work. Okay, here we go. Okay, again, way too much, but that's okay. Because there's going to be like a little hole over here for some reason. Okay, extra for decorations, and kind of smush this in. Yeah, it's fine, it's fine. Alright, now this is going to be the tricky part. So I did it quickly. It's so ugly! Okay, oh, it is not better on this side. Okay. The problem is that the fondant up here isn't sticking very well because I didn't put icing all over it. So we are going to have to make some icing and make that work. So the tricky thing is that I don't want it to be super runny because otherwise, like, it'll help this stick more, but it won't help but it's not going to help the actual decoration part of it. Okay, this is pretty good. Probably need a little more, to be honest. But we're going to run with it for now. Cool. Now what? I have extra fondant that I can use for decorations. Or what? I don't know. I think that's it. Can I make a snake, I wonder? Out of fondant? I have no idea. Let's try. It doesn't really like to roll. It's going to be a fat snake. No, that's dumb. Okay, well, I don't know, to be honest with you. I don't know where to go from here. Maybe I can make this a little bit thicker. I want it to be thick so that it stays, but I don't want it to be so thick that it won't, like, come out of the tube when I squeeze it. And I think this will do it. I do think I'm going to need some food coloring, though, because this color is not very attractive. I decided to go with blue. Blue is another Hogwarts color, and it goes well with both yellow and green. So why not? I assume that you can save fondant. I mean, why not, right? I saved the unused part of my fondant, so I'm going to save the majority of this fondant. And maybe we'll use it in the future. Alright, my favorite way to do things. Wrap up my icing in parchment plastic wrap here. We don't have a ton, so we do have to be careful about that. Alright, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to try to pipe around the sides so that this awful fondant work doesn't really show quite as much. I'm kidding. And then I think we're good on the bottom, so my color's making cute little flowers, but they're definitely turning out to be that way, but they're okay. They're just dots, you know? One of these days I will understand decorations. Okay, well I don't dare mess with it any more than that, so that's gonna be that. Alright, well I'll show you up close. Okay, so there's my 2 stacks. You're not gonna be able to, oh, there you go, you can see it. We just put our initials up there with some polka dots. That's that. And take a video for my husband, and we're gonna cut it. I'm cutting to the bottom because that's what I want. I got a little bit of the top too. Well, let's try it. As I suspected, cake. I'm not a huge fan of fondant, so I think it's definitely really more for decoration. It's good. Cake's fine. A little disappointing. This is not quite what I had in mind. But I went for it, and that's what matters. A reminder that I will not be posting a video next week. It'll be wedding weekend, and so I won't have time to bake, but hopefully I'll be back the week after that. If you have recipes that you want me to try, go ahead and send those my way. I'm always looking for new recipes and very interested in trying pretty much anything at this point. I do recommend this book, and I do recommend this series, so if you're ready to dive in, go back and start with The Bad Beginning, which is the very first one, and dive right in. These are just really fun, quick, easy reads that honestly everybody should read. If you have other book recommendations, please also send those my way. I'm always looking for those, and I'm open to pretty much anything. Thank you to those of you that watch every week. You guys are the absolute best. I have so much fun doing this. If you had fun today, please like and subscribe. I'm trying to be here for you every week, and I'm pretty much always a little bit of a hot mess, especially weeks like this, but it turns out to be kind of fun too. You can follow me on Instagram if you want to follow my book journey, and you can follow me on other social media as well. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today, and I'll see you next time.